Hello, a pleasant day to everyone. My name is Jeremiah for EDUC 211 Facilitating Learning. So now we are on our eighth lesson, which is cognitive process. So let us begin. So for our learning objectives, our first objective is to describe the strategies to promote knowledge construction. Our next objective is to identify the factors that lead to transfer of learning. Another one is to familiarize with the different levels of learning taxonomy. Explain Robert Sternberg's successful intelligence theory. And lastly, to explain the four categories or criteria of creativity by Edward Torrance. So what is constructivism? So constructivism is a theory that is based on the observation and scientific study based on how people learn or perceive knowledge. It encourages learners to use active techniques such as experiments and problem solving to create their own knowledge. Talk about past or present experiences and how it changes their previous understanding. The constructivist view of learning can point towards a number of different teaching practices. So types of constructivism. So there are two. So the first one is individual constructivism, or also known as cognitive constructivism. This is child-centered. It gives emphasis to the on an individual's internal construction of knowledge, uh, whether it's individual or cognitive constructivism. They believe that the learner should be allowed to discover and do things on their own. So the principles through their own exploration rather than receiving direct instruction from the teacher. So the other one is social constructivism. This view believes that knowledge exists in a social context and is initially shared with others instead of being represented solely in the mind of an individual or a facilitator. According to social constructivists, it helps learners to shape and refine their ideas if they interact and share among other learners. So meaning they will be being part or take part in activity that promotes knowledge. So characteristics of constructivism. So learners construct understanding and construct knowledge that makes sense to them. So they're active thinkers who make their own interpretation based on the information that they have already known. Their new learning depends on the current understanding. The new information of learner and its schema will always be interpreted. So learning is facilitated by social interaction. So constructivists believe in creating a community of learners. They are given with activities to cooperate and work together. So whether it's problem solving or discovery learning. So teachers should only support and facilitate the learning process, and the students will be the one who will do most of the part in the learning process. So meaningful learning occurs within authentic learning tasks. Students should be involved in knowledge construction activities, learn lessons that can be applied in the real world and to their daily lives. So concept is defined as a way of grouping or categorizing objects in one mind. So teachers help learner facilitate their own learning by providing an organized knowledge and introducing new concepts to them. So we have here the three types of concepts. So concept as a feature list and its subgroup, defining feature and correlation feature. The second one is the concept as prototypes, and lastly, concept as exemplars. So let us expound each. So concept as feature list, this involves specific feature that characterizes positive instances or of the concept. So it has two types. So one is defining feature. So it's a characteristic that is present in all instances. For example, a child can understand or recognize that square has four sides. Another one is the correlation feature, present in many instances but not essential for concept membership. Example, all mothers are known to be caring and naturally they are caring, but some mothers are not caring but still they are mothers. So another one. One is the concept as prototypes. So prototypes are are visual ideas and images. These are formed in the positive instances that learners encounter often. So for example, if you tell a student to draw a tree, so they will draw the shape that resembles a tree that they commonly know. So that would be around swirl and then a letter two binocular letter C's that represent the basic drawing of tree. So concept as exemplar. So this concept represent various examples and this allows the learners to know that example under the concept that have variabilities. So example, a student was tasked to name an unknown fruit. So instead of describing the fruit, he or she will use the examples of the fruits that he or she always encounters. For example, they will they will give example based on the fruit that they're eating. So if the unknown fruit is round, then they will describe. They will say that this is like this fruit that is also round and color orange, something like that. So providing schemas and scripts and skips also helps the learner to construct their own knowledge. So schema is defined as an organized body of knowledge about an information. So it can be associated to a file of information you hold in your mind about something. While on the other hand, script is a schema that includes a series of predictable events about a specific activity. So transfer of learning occur when the information of this of or the strategies and skills that they have learned is applied to a new context or situation. So it is very an integral transfer of learning is an integral process or important part of the educational method or educational process. So they have different types of transfer. So the positive transfer occurs when learning in one context improves performance in some other context. So the negative transfer happens when a previous learning hinders the acquisition of a new learning. The near transfer or specific transfer refers to the transfer between very similar contexts, and the par transfer or general transfer refers to transfer between contexts that on appearance seem remote and alien on one another. So we go to a very famous um, psychological and social physiological theory, which is known as the Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy is a set of three hierarchical models used to classify educational learning objectives into the levels of complexity and specificity. So the three lists cover the learning objectives in the cognitive, affective, and sensory domain. So in 1956, Benjamin Bloom, with his colleagues and collaborators, Max Engelhardt and Edward First, Walter Hill and David Cratwell published a framework for categorizing educational goals. So it was called Taxonomy of Educational Objectives, or as commonly known to us as Bloom's taxonomy. So this framework has been applied by the modern generations of K-12 teachers and college instructors in their training. So the Bloom's taxonomy in its first inception is created in this tier pyramid model. So the lowest part is called knowledge. So this is where a learner recall an information. So the adjectives that can be used to this is describe, name, recite, recognize, list, match, relate, repeat, reproduce, and state. So the next tier is comprehension. So the translation or interpretation or extrapolation of knowledge. So its adjectives are arrange, explain, interpret, classify, express, locate, describe, identify, report, discuss, indicate, restate, sort, translate, and extrapolate. So the higher tier is called application, the application of knowledge that is new to a situation. So the adjectives or verbs are solve, demonstrate, apply, construct, predict, prepare, produce, sketch, solve, use, and write. So the higher tier, another tier is analysis, to break down knowledge into parts and show interrelationship among the other parts. So the verbs and adjectives are analyzed, appraise, calculate, diagram, discriminate, distinguish, question, test, differentiate, categorize, contrast, examine, experiment, compare, inventory, and criticize. So another higher tier, the second to the highest tier. Synthesis, bring together parts of knowledge to form a whole and build relationship for a new situation. So the verbs and the adjectives are describe, name, recite, recognize, list, match, relate, repeat, reproduce, and state. The highest tier is evaluation, judgment about the value of materials and methods for given purposes. So the verb and the adjectives are appraise, estimate, select, argue, evaluate, support, judge, value, attack, predict, score, compare, rate, and defend. So Bloom's taxonomy is revised under the new curriculum, which is under different curriculums, most recently the K to 12 curriculum. So this the tier is revised as the lowest tier will start in remembering. So this is focused if the students can recall or remember the information. So they would be able to define, duplicate, list, memorize, recall, repeat, reproduce, or state. And the higher another for the much higher tier, so understanding, the level of understanding is concerned if the students can explain their ideas or concepts. So they would be able to classify, describe, discuss, explain, identify, locate, recognize, select, translate, or paraphrase. So another higher tier is applying. So can the students use the information in a new way? So they would be able to choose, demonstrate, dramatize, employ, illustrate, interpret, operate, sketch, solve, use, or write. So another one is the analyzing. So can the students distinguish between the different parts of his or her knowledge? So they would be able to compare, contrast, criticize, differentiate, discriminate, distinguish, examine, experiment, question, or test. So the second to the highest tier is evaluating. So can the students justify, stand stand on their decision? So to evaluate information, a student might appraise, argue, defend, judge, select, support, value, and evaluate. So the highest tier is the practical one, creating. So can the students create a new product or point of view based on what they learn? So they would be able to assemble, construct, create, design, develop, formulate, write, or invent. So there are separate types of knowledge that is created by the reframers of the Bloom's taxonomy, particularly in 2006. So this includes factual knowledge, metacognitive knowledge, procedural knowledge, and conceptual knowledge. So knowledge is at the basis of the six cognitive process. So this includes, like what I said a while ago, the factual knowledge refers to the basic elements that the learner must know. The conceptual learner, this is their interrelationship among the basic element that is within a larger structure that enables them to function together. And then the procedural knowledge, these are methods of inquiry and criteria for using skills that are good in algorithms, techniques, and methods. And metacognitive knowledge, this knowledge of cognition in general, as awareness and knowledge of one's cognition. So another theory that will be discussed is Robert J. Sternberg's successful intelligence theory, or most commonly known as Sternberg's hierarchic theory of success of intelligence, or of successful intelligence, that contends that intelligent behavior arises from a balance between analytical, creative, and practical abilities, and that these abilities function collectively to allow individuals to achieve success within a particular social-cultural context. When Steinberg was at his young age, he had a difficulty in taking the tests and assessments and did not perform well on such tests. This fueled him to study and look for the reasons to draw on why students are having difficulties in specific assessments and tests. So this lead him to draw interest in the field of intelligence that lead him to come up with his first proposition, that is triarchic theory of intelligence, during the 1980s. Now, together with his colleagues and different psychologists, they formulated the now called the WICS model. So it stands for wisdom, intelligence, creativity, and synthesize. So the four skills in Steinberg's successful intelligence theory are the following. So analytical skills, it determines if a certain idea is good. Creative skills, students can come up with new idea to answer their questions or a need or solve a problem. So practical skills, this is where they apply what they have learned or add up to the existing knowledge that they have, and then the memory skills to recall facts and information. So another theory is from Edward Paul Torrance, the father of creativity, is called as problem solving and creativity theory. So Torrance defined creativity as what is so called as creative thinking. It is the process of sensing difficulties, problems, gaps in information, missing elements, something that can be asked by making guesses and hypothesis of this about the solution on these problems or deficiencies. So this also includes evaluating and testing the hypothesis as well, if this will work or it will answer the questions. Uh, and if it is not successful, a possible revision and restating is should be done as a scaffold. And finally, if they have the results, it should be communicating and attainable. So the four components of creative thinking includes fluency, flexibility, originality, and elaboration. So let us expound. Uh, for Edward Torrance, for nearly 60 years of research, it became a field of framework for students, who are considered to be gifted or uh, that can be used by special. This became a pillar of special education around the globe. So he was a professor emeritus of educational psychology because of this momentous achievement. So he invented the benchmark or the method for quantifying creativity. The method that he has formulated is called the Torrance test of creative thinking. This helped debunk and shatter the theory that IQ tests alone were sufficient to gauge real intelligence. So the test solidified what heretofore was only conceptual, namely creative levels can be scaled and then increased through practice. So students, whether they're not innately that good in the academy, can still learn and be good in that field of interest. So a while ago, we mentioned the four components of critical thinking. The first one is fluency. This refers to the production of a great number of ideas or alternate solutions towards a problem. Fluency implies not only remembering the information that is learned, but as well as understanding. So the other one is flexibility, refers to the production of the ideas that show variety of possibilities or realms of thought. This involves the ability to see things from different points of views, to use many different approaches or strategies. The other one is elaboration. This is the process of enhancing ideas by providing more details or additional details, and clarify and improve the interest in an understandable topic. So, and the last one is originality. This involves the production of the ideas that are unique or unusual. It involves synthesis or putting the information about a topic back together in a way. So this shows the uniqueness of the students. And that ends our discussion. So I will end this discussion by by a quotation from Alice Paul Torrance, or Edward Paul Torrance. So creativity is the process of sensing problems or gaps in information, then identifying the difficulties and seeking solutions through trial and error or through forming hypotheses. Teachers should uh, look for the weakness of the students, not to belittle them, but in order to help them become an effective learner and a much uh, and have a better version of themselves by improving their innate skills and abilities. So that ends our discussion. And this is the list of the references that has been used. Thank you very much for listening.